So we're getting ready to start at 7. If anybody's hopped on, let me know. Say hi so I know you're here. I can't tell yet if anybody can see me or is watching. We'll wait a few minutes before we start. Has anybody hopped on yet to do the LV decal upload and cut tutorial quick before we do the cup at 8? Just curious. I can't see anybody yet. Trying to figure out where to put you guys so you can see me or see my screen. Okay. All right, I can't see any comments, guys. I'm just hopping on the computer before we start to kind of see if I can, trying to get everything so I can see your guys' comments and questions and all that. So if you've hopped on, say hi. So I know you're here. I see Melanie. Hi, Melanie. See if I can shrink this down so I can see your questions and do the Cricut design space. We'll see. Hi, Stephanie. Oh, you're so welcome. I love doing lives for you guys. I haven't gotten to do any in quite a while. And let me flip you around so I can see you guys while we're waiting. And it was overdue, and a lot of people asked me to do the Louis Vuitton cup tutorial, and since I had a bunch to do, I thought it would be a good time to do it. It wasn't a ton of notice for you guys. It was kind of a last minute decision on my way home from work today. So hopefully y'all enjoy it. Okay, now I'm starting to see you guys. I'm gonna wait just a couple minutes to let some people hop on, because I know there was a whole bunch that wanted to catch this so that they could do the Louis Vuitton cup with me at 8. So I'm just gonna take a couple minutes to kind of hang out and give everyone else a chance to hop on. Hi, Randy. Finally starting to see you guys. And Sue. Hi, Sue. Just getting us set up here. Alright, I'm gonna wait like 2 more minutes till about 5 after, and then I'll flip you guys around and we can start. But for anybody who's on, we're gonna have Design Space open in Google, and that's about really all we need, I think. If you guys want to start there while we're waiting. Hi, Mary. I was looking at my computer and my phone at the same time because I wasn't seeing comments at first, and it seems like they're coming in on my phone really kind of delayed a little bit. So if I don't catch your guys' comments or questions right away, bear with me. I don't know if it's just my phone's slow today or what, but hi, Rebecca. We're just hanging out for another minute or so, letting everybody sign on that wanted to join, and then about 5 after, I'll start walking you guys through what we're gonna do. Hi, Tanya. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to flip you guys around so you can see my computer. Hi, Marcy. And we'll walk through how to make the cutout, the Louis Vuitton cutouts for the zipper cup. And I haven't weeded these ones yet. We'll see if you can see them. It's just the little designs, that the LV design pattern that goes on the cup. Hi, Brittany. And is it Deidre? I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna open Design Space and open, I'm gonna flip you around. Hi, Tasha and Jennifer. Let's see if I can do this without losing you guys. And there we go. Oh, good. You have unique spelling, Deidre, so I wasn't sure. Hi, Kat. I'm going to fight with my phone stand here for a second. One of my kids, I think, stole my good one because I can't find it, so we're going to fight with this one for a minute. Sorry if I'm making anybody motion sick. Okay, does everybody feel like they can see the screen okay? I think we finally got you good. All right, so you're gonna open up Google, and then you're gonna open up your design space, like in the home place where your projects are. And all I did was, apparently I still have open projects because I've been cutting nonstop for days. Okay. So you're just going to go to a new project in design space. And then when you have that open and set, I went to Google and I just Googled Louis Vuitton SVG and all these different things came up. And what I did was I just grabbed one of the patterns like this and I right clicked and saved the image, and I just save it right to my desktop so that I can find it, because I don't got the patience to dig through stuff and be organized. Saved it to my desktop, and then you're going to go into design space and you're just going to upload it. You're going to hit upload and then upload image, and you're going to hit browse, and then you just got to find the image. And then you're going to open it. Now once it's open, sometimes if an image has a lot of different colors, different designs in it, you want to go more complex, but this one looks like it's pretty simple with the background disappearing. So we're just going to go to hit simple and continue. Now we're going to actually do this a couple different times, and I'll show you guys why. Once you are in here where you can start deleting the background, and if there's anybody watching who's never done this, you just select your little wand up here and you can click the background and make everything you don't want disappear. The other thing you got to do, and I'll zoom in for this usually to make sure I get all the little tiny parts, anything that's white in this particular design we don't want. We just want what's black. So all of these different little white pieces I'm going to click as well, so that cuts away all of the stuff that we don't want. All the machine's going to cut is the black part. And for the way that I did this one, and it has a lot to do with how I choose to apply my decals and whatnot and size them. I don't have to do this whole thing because I'm only right now going to do the one row right here. Because I want all of my SVGs to be separate, meaning I want this column of design to be one piece, this little star to be one piece, and then the LV with the diamonds to be one piece. Because when I put everything into my images into the actual project, it makes it a lot easier to lay out exactly how I want them and to size them. I've tried doing it as one whole picture, and it just made it too difficult to get the size of everything right, so I prefer to do mine in pieces. You can do the whole image if you want to. It's just personal preference for me. So then I'm going to take my eraser, the little middle thing here, and this is how you size it, and I'm going to erase everything but those first but this first column right here. And that's where doing this a couple different times comes into play, because we have to save each one of those design strips separately. So I just erase all this. You can make it a little bit smaller too to get in like little smaller places like this. Are you guys following me okay? I stopped seeing comments again and I just want to make sure I didn't lose you guys. Can you guys, I still got you guys, right? I don't know what's going on with comments, but if you're sending questions and comments, I'm not receiving them. So somebody shoot me a hey or a hi just so I know they're still coming in. I'm seeing lots of little likey thumbs. Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry, guys. It wasn't, I don't know what's going on. All right. Just making sure I didn't miss any questions. Can this be done using Design Space iOS app? Yeah, it can actually. You would do the same thing on your phone. Go to Google, find the image and save it, and then go through the exact same steps on your phone. You're just doing it on a much smaller scale. I do know from experience that the Design Space app does not have as many options and features for designing as the desktop software does. But to do something like this can be done on the phone, yes. Okay. So I don't think I missed any questions, but if I did, just repeat them, because like I said, I don't know, my comments stopped moving and then I'm not getting your guys' comments. Okay, excuse me. So we took the image, we uploaded, and we erased everything but that first column. And if you look at the Louis Vuitton design, it's actually those first three columns just repetitively. So all we need to create our design are those first three. So now that I got the first piece done, I'm going to hit continue, and it'll show you if you have some little eraser pieces that you missed. So you can just click back, and then they'll usually show up in gray. So you can just go in and erase them and clean up whatever you missed. And then hit continue again, and it looks like it's pretty clean. It gives you two options when you save: print then cut, or save as a cut image. We're not going to print and cut this, we're just going to cut it straight on the vinyl. So you want to save it as a cut image. And there's three different parts, so I'll save the parts as like LV1, LV2, and LV3, just so I know they go together. You're going to save it. Now, and you'll see where it's saved in your uploaded images. We're going to go back and we have to do that 2 more times. You're going to do the same thing, go to upload and go to browse, which was back here. And then it'll show you your computer files, and you're going to go back to the exact same image that you just pulled up the first time and open it. Same thing, hit simple, continue, and now you're going to do the exact same thing again, making the background disappear. All we're saving this time are this row of stars. So all we need to cut out are these little white middles in these stars, and we're going to erase everything else. And again, the reason that I do it this way is because it gives me a lot more options in sizing, and it gives me more control over how it's laid out, because what I end up doing is I slice each row into strips and apply them that way, and this just makes it's a little more work this way, but in the long run it's so much easier. Okay, and then we can make it bigger and get rid of all this stuff over here a lot faster. And then we do exactly what we did the first time. We hit continue. And see a little spot that I missed, so we're gonna go back, zoom in a little bit, and clean up those little pieces we missed. And then we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna save this one as LV2, and make sure you're saving it as a cut image, not this cut and print, because we're not gonna cut and print this. And then one more time, the exact same thing, hit upload and then browse. You're gonna look on your computer for the same image one more time. Open it just like we did. Go to simple, continue. And we're gonna do the same thing, except now we're just gonna save this third row. And then we'll have all of our pieces. So use your little wand to clear out the background. We're going to erase all the stuff we don't need. Program, oh, we're using Design Space. And unfortunately, I do not own the Silhouette Cameo setup yet. I've been tempted to buy it because I've heard it has some better perks to it than the Cricut design software. But as of right now, I have no experience in Silhouette. So if there's any Silhouette users, I am sorry, I cannot walk you through Silhouette, but the concept would be the same. However you upload and create your own images in Silhouette, you would do it the same kind of way, if that makes sense. Okay. So we got our last piece. Trying to make sure I didn't miss no little spots. And then I forget sometimes to take like the center detail pieces out. Make sure you remember to do that. Go to continue. Looks like I missed a little piece again. Okay. Save as a cut image. This will be LV3. We have all three of our pieces. You go to save. Now, once you have all three of your pieces, you are going to click all three of them and go to insert, and that's going to bring all of your pieces into your new project. Now for the cup that I did, I made these a little bit larger than the ones I'm using now. And I think I like the smaller ones better. So I'm going to size them to the size that I'm going to be using on the 8 o'clock tutorial. So we're all kind of on the same page, but just for future reference, you can size these any size you want. Some people like the bigger decals, some people like the smaller. You know, if you're using a 20 ounce versus a 30 ounce, you know, that might make a difference. So all of my strips, I'm going to do a 1/2 inch wide. Oh, and up here, in case you're not familiar, there's a little padlock. You want to click that so that it looks open, because otherwise it's going to keep all of your measurements equivalent and you can't be as specific as you want to be with the size. So I always unlock that so I can make both the width and the height the size I want. Otherwise, if you put in the width, it gives you the equivalent height, and that's not what I want for this. So we're going to do a 1/2 inch wide by, what are we working with? 11.5 is what I can cut on the mat. So we'll go like half that. We'll do like 5.5, 5.5 it'll say. And you can play with it too. If you don't like the way that it looks at that shape, go ahead by all means and play with the size. Is it Zoila? Again, I'm so sorry if I got that wrong. You guys have all these unique, beautiful names and I'm not sure how to pronounce them. But you're very welcome. I love doing this for you guys. This group has helped me out so much in my journey in learning how to make cups that, you know, I love to give back any chance I get. All right, so we're going to do each one of the strips the same, a 1/2 inch wide by 5.5 inches tall. Okay. That looks a little stretched out to me. I already have the ones cut for later's tutorial. So I'm going to play with this a little bit and see, because I'm not liking how those stars look. Because the stars are much smaller, I'm kind of thinking that a 1/2 inch by like 4.5 high looks better to me personally. And the other two are a 1/2 inch by 5.5. And I mean, there's only 4 in a row versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they look a little stretched out being that big. So I'm going to make the stars just a little bit smaller. So they look a little bit more like they fit. So now we have all 3 of our pieces, and then what you can do is just click back to Google real quick and make sure that you have your design in the right order. You got your little round flower row, your stars, and then your diamond with the LV. So we'll do this one first. And then if you notice on the pattern, the stars kind of go in between, like kind of opposite that the other 2 rows go. So you want to make sure that you line them up so that they look right. And I'm big on eyeing stuff. I don't do exact measurements. Like even when I apply the decals, I really just kind of eyeball it. It's more difficult for me to kind of go by exact measurement. So whether you guys want to measure yours or however you apply it, you know, whatever works for you. Once I have my design lined up like this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to weld these pieces together, because then I can move all of them at once and they'll stay lined up. And weld is right down here in this bottom row of options. And now, see, you can move everything around and it'll stay even. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this enough times that it's going to go across my whole cut mat. I know we have 12 by 12 cut mats for the Cricut, but it only lets you cut 11.5 by 11.5. So we're gonna go keeping that in mind. Oh wait, I think I just screwed this up. Sorry guys. I did. My bad. Back up. We're gonna undo it real quick. Undo, 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 undo. Sorry if I just screwed anybody up. We're just going back to where we were here before we welded it, because when I looked at the pattern, I noticed I needed one more row of these on the other side for it to lay properly. My apologies. So you want there to be your first row you did, a row of, I guess those are little diamonds, your LV row, and then another row of diamonds. So that when we duplicate it, it all lays, you're going to be missing a row if we don't do that. So now I'm just going to re-weld it again. And you can click on it. I hit Control, hold down the Control on the keyboard, and just click the other rows. And then down here, hit Weld. And that'll take me back to where it's one whole piece again. And now you'll see what I mean when I duplicate it. In the pattern, the next row should have been this one. So without adding that second row of diamonds, we would have been missing a row of stars. So, and then I'm just gonna eye it the best I can. And that looks pretty good to me. Now what I'm gonna do is weld these two together, because now that gives me a bigger piece. And when I duplicate it again, it's less moving around and less measuring that I have to try to do. I like to try to make it as simple as possible to keep everything as even as possible. And when I cut these, the way I apply them, like I was saying, I cut them into vertical strips. It won't necessarily matter that they're perfect when you cut them anyways, because I cut these into pieces. And so if you're going to apply them that way, it might make it easier for you if you space yours a little further apart, just so you have room to cut. Oh, you're very welcome. But for me, like, I don't like wasting vinyl, and I'm okay just kind of weaving around the pieces. But if you would rather have them, you know, more space in between, lining them up with space in between won't change your pattern based on how I'm showing you how to do it. So now we got our two big pieces. We're going to do the same thing, weld them together. And the other way you can do it too is you don't have to keep making your sections larger and larger. I'm just doing that more so for time's sake. Some people like to do it in smaller sections because you might get to the end, like we're about to. I'm actually going to undo that last weld, and find that your next piece doesn't fit, but you have too much space over here. So you can go backwards and undo it like I just did, and see how much of another piece you can fit in there by duplicating it. And it's going to take me over a little bit, like even past 12, so it probably isn't going to let me cut it, but just as, you know, food for thought, if you want to do yours in smaller sections, that's okay too. So but I'm going to just keep the two for now that we had, and all this will be open on the mat, which is fine. Now going down, you also can go to 11.5. So I'm going to take the big piece, I just re-welded the two pieces back together, and duplicate it. And I'm going to put one underneath it, because now that'll give me just about a full length mat of cutting. I'm leaving a little space because, I mean, obviously the cup isn't 11 inches tall, so rather than try to figure out where my pattern ends, I just leave a little extra space so I know that's where each column ends when I cut it. Where did I get the image? We just Googled it, Angela. We opened Google and we just went to Louis Vuitton SVGs, and all of these came up. and we just picked this one here, a simple black and white one. And just right click, save image as. I saved it to the desktop and then uploaded it into Design Space. Oh, thanks, Lenny. We're trying here. Try to keep things simple and try to always find, you know, a little bit easier ways to do things. I remember when I first saw the Louis Vuitton cup, or maybe it was, I think I saw the Coach one first. I didn't really, nobody really showed me how to make the cup. I'm pretty good at breaking stuff down in my head. But the one thing that did take me a while to figure out was that people, and if you're a person that can do this, I commend you, either did full sheet water slide or full sheet vinyl with the decals and could wrap it around the cup and still get it perfectly straight in one piece. I'm not that person, and I've seen some do it, but I started doing it this way because it was just so much simpler for me to apply and get everything straight. Did we say that we sized them 1/2 by 5.5? Yes, the first this row here with the flowers and this row here with the diamond and the LV, we did at 1/2 inch wide by 5.5 inches long. With these diamonds in the middle, because there's less of them than the other 2 rows, they look too stretched out at that size. So we just did 4.5 inches wide by, or I'm sorry, 1/2 inch wide by 4.5 inches long for just this row of stars right here. So now we have our full sheet down to where it'll let us cut. And what you're going to do now is you're just going to get ready to cut it. And what I used is, I actually, my Walmart here in Buffalo, New York started carrying Cricut rolls of vinyl that are like $5 a roll. And they just got in like this gold, the white, the black, like the basics. But this is just gold Cricut vinyl that my Walmart started carrying. I don't know if you guys can really see that in the light. But they also have it at like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever your craft store is near you that you get your Cricut stuff at. The first couple I made, I also used, I ordered a huge packet of 12 by 12 squares of the Oracle vinyl. And the color is almost non-existently different. It's very, very close. That worked great too. So I'm a fan of Oracle or the 651 stuff because it's permanent. And if anybody doesn't know the difference, permanent vinyl you can actually apply, and it's supposed to be dishwasher safe. Like, it doesn't lift under epoxy. It adheres differently to the surface. And I went to strictly that because of the fact that it stopped lifting underneath my epoxy. I'm out of that gold, so we're going to use the Cricut gold. So what I'm going to end up doing when we make the cup later, I know I'm getting a little ahead here, is I'll end up sealing it just because it's basic Cricut vinyl. So, the other thing that I discovered was my Cricut machine, I have the Air Explorer 2. It really likes to eat my vinyl when I try to cut things too small. So I have found that anything small like this, like these, each one of these is maybe 1/4 inch in size. I use the washi sheet setting or the washi tape setting. And I'll show you what I mean. On your machine where your dial is, you should have a spot on the dial that says custom. And I set it to that. And then when I go to cut this, it'll let me pick what material I want to use. All the way at the bottom in Design Space, there's a setting for washi tape. And there's one that says a washi sheet or the washi tape. I use the washi tape. It gives the vinyl like this really light kiss cut, and it doesn't tear it up. I don't know how much vinyl I've gone through trying to figure that out. Oh, you're welcome, Joe Angel. Did I say how much space you put in between each column? I did not. like I was saying before, I'm kind of an eye person. I'm not real good with specific measurements. So I just kind of eyeballed it, and I used the lines, the grid lines in Design Space to help me place them at least all like the same across. But as far as space wise, I just kind of eyeball it. We're going to cut them into strips like this anyways. So it really doesn't matter how much space is in between each row. Because we're going to cut them apart anyways. So I would suggest spacing them whatever's going to make it the easiest for you to cut them into strips. And I'll show you guys at the end of this, you know, what it looks like with the strips. And these are what we're going to use in the live at 8 o'clock when we do the actual cut. So the space in between each row isn't really that important for this method. So now we're ready to cut. I put it on my washi tape setting. You're very welcome. And I'm ready to cut. Before we decide to cut, do I have everybody? Is anybody kind of like stuck on anything? Or have any questions up to this point? I don't know if I went too fast for anybody. I know my foot's falling asleep, and I'm gonna stand up real quick, so if you guys hear a thump, I probably fell on the floor. If there's no questions about what we've done so far, then at this point I just take a square of my gold vinyl, and it just goes on my mat, and I'm gonna load it into my machine and cut. Now it takes a while to cut this, so if you're cutting this for the live to follow along at 8 o'clock, definitely start cutting now. And I always wait a few minutes after 8 to start. So if you're still finishing up with your vinyl, when you hop on, just say, hey, still finishing up my vinyl, and I'll wait for everybody to catch up. The other things for the following live that you're going to want to do is, we're using a gold zipper. I spray painted my zipper gold with just Krylon gold spray paint. If you're doing it that way also, because I could not find a gold zipper anywhere, that's something else you're going to want to do in a few minutes so that it's dry. We're not going to use it immediately, but just to give yourself some time, I would do that as well. Okay, so now I'm going to cut. I'll give everyone a minute to, if you're going to start cutting now for the tutorial at 8. But then I'm going to show you guys with another sheet I already have cut what it ends up looking like, and the whole thing about why I cut them into strips. And then by the time we get going with the 8 o'clock tutorial, you guys should be good to go with your decals. So I'm just loading it into my machine at this point so I can start cutting. So now, when that's all said and done, you should end up, just looking for the one I already have cut, with a sheet with all the decals cut like this. There should be no, you can see it. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but it cuts it really nice on that washi sheet setting, which is why I like it so much. It stopped tearing up my vinyl, which is great. When it's all cut, what I end up doing is cutting each row into strips like this, if you can see. Like each row, each strip is one of those design pieces we first started with. You can kind of see there. I'm going to pull the vinyl off this one real quick and weed around it so you guys have a better idea of what it looks like. So that when you weed it, it actually is just one single design strip. And the reason I do it this way is because I found out that applying it onto my cup, and my Louis Vuitton cups have been selling out faster than I can keep them stocked like at all. So I don't even have a finished one for the tutorial to show you guys or to compare to right now. Because every time I just about get one finished, somebody buys it. So I'm going to use my Tim Hortons cup here as an example. This whole strip ends up being 2 columns. Because remember, we did, if you can still see the screen, we left that little bit of space in the middle for where our column ended. So there's 2 strips here, but what we'll end up doing is applying each strip like this on the cup. And I just found that for me, doing it this way gave me such a better result than trying to do it in bigger pieces or trying to do it as a full vinyl wrap. And I don't have no scientific method for getting them on straight. I eyeball them. I know some people will draw lines with a dry erase marker on their cup and line them up that way, because then it just wipes right off. It doesn't leave any marks on your cups or anything. There's a couple of different ways that I seen this, some lady on one of the groups had this really cool, crazy looking like laser thing where it did like the lines on the cup for you. I wish I knew where she got it because it was definitely cool, but I just eyeball mine. And that's for me the simplest. That was the simplest way for me to do it. And then that's about it. That gives you all your decals, and you're ready to go for the Louis Vuitton cup. I sell mine for a 20 ounce, like the one, if you guys saw the one that I posted. That one I sell for 30. It doesn't take me too long to make them. I promise you guys, if you follow along with the tutorial that we're gonna do in a few minutes, it is so much easier to do than you would think by looking at it. So they don't take me that long. There's not a whole lot of product like invested in it. It probably, the whole thing cost me $10 to make, and the cup itself was $6. So I sell them for 30. And the other part of it is too, is I can't get really much more than that around here in Buffalo for cups. I know some ladies are selling them on the higher end for like 45 or 50. I envy you ladies, because I'm lucky if I can get $30 for that cup where I live. So I stay on the lower end of things. You're welcome. Does anybody have any last minute questions before I kind of sign off and start getting ready for the tutorial at 8? I'm going to flip you around so I can... And I always tell everybody too, if you friend me on Facebook, I'm always happy to answer questions. You can always inbox me if you get stuck or you guys just have questions about whatever. I never mind answering questions. Bonnie, will this be... I don't know what you mean. You're welcome, Tracy. Oh yes, I have created myself a YouTube page, and all you have to do is search my name, Shannon Swatlowski, and any of the tutorials I've done will come up. Right now I just have the fishing lure tutorial I did, and but I have a long list of others that I want to do now that life isn't insane like it was for a minute. So yeah, just search my name on YouTube, and I'm also going to post it in the groups too, because I know there's a handful of people that won't be able to watch tonight. How many strips do I do for each cup? Ladies, I don't know what happened. How many strips for each cup? I can tell you that I don't know exactly how many strips, but I can tell you that out of one sheet cut like we just cut, I can get just about 2 cups, depending how close together I put the decals. Maybe 1.5. But that's something that now I'm kind of curious. So when we're doing it tonight, I'm going to count and see. We'll figure out how many it actually takes at that size. And you ladies are so welcome. It's been my pleasure. If I don't see any more last minute questions, I'm going to sign off so that we can get ready for the 8 o'clock tutorial right here as well, to now put our decals to use. If you haven't done so yet and you are going to follow along, make sure your cup's painted and sealed. Make sure your zipper is painted. If you're using spray paint, you shouldn't need to seal it. How is my cup prepared? The same way I do any other painted cup. I primed it with like a flat white spray paint or a primer, and then I painted it brown. On ones I've done before, I've used the Folk Art matte acrylic in brown umber. This time I've done Krylon's brown leather. Time zone is my tutorial. Oh, I'm Eastern time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. It's in about 15 minutes. And I'm sorry, as I was saying, the acrylic, brown umber and folk art, or Krylon's leather brown spray paint. And I just paint it. If I use acrylic paint, I do seal it with like a clear sealer or Mod Podge, just so I don't scratch the paint, because acrylic, without being sealed, scratches very easily. So, and then that's about it. Everything else we're gonna do in the tutorial coming up. You're welcome, Lori. Sherry, it's not yet. I am gonna post it to YouTube. You can search my name and it'll be up there probably later tonight. I'm also gonna post it in the group. I know there's a handful of people that missed it that would want to watch the replay, or just save it so they can refer back to it. So I will post this on both YouTube and the beginner page for you guys to find. You're very welcome, ladies. I'm going to sign off. It sounds like my crafting companion, who you can see ruined my blinds in the background, is hungry, so I'm going to feed her, and I will see you guys at 8 to do the tutorial. Later, ladies.